Hey, what's up, world? This is Loriano Mercado on the I Self Reflect podcast, founder and creator of iselfreflect.com, the first apparel brand that you wear for yourself. The podcast will be a platform where I share my stories, ideas, and different perspectives that I've observed from books, social media, and from just people watching. Honestly, my ultimate goal for this is to fill people with positivity so people listening can go back into their daily lives and use it. So let's just jump right in. Today's podcast, I want to introduce myself and share a little bit about me. So for all you listeners out there, you can put a story behind the voice and eventually the face. So to start off, my name is Loriano Mercado. I'm 33, and I was born in New York City in 1987, where I lived until I was 8 years old with my sister Stephanie. From there, we got adopted and moved out to Fishkill, New York, which ends up being like an hour and a half away, I believe. And honestly, one of my greatest moments that I remember from that time was pulling up to this house. And, granted, like in New York City, I lived in the projects in Avenue B and Avenue D, which is known as Alphabet City. But when we get to Fishkill, I remember just pulling up to the house and just feeling like this quiet night. And then you see this bright moon out there, which illuminated the deep snow all around it. And it was such a scenery from like a movie, I felt, that was just, what is this? And just the calmness and the beauty of it pulling up. Even when I was 8 years old, I still remember this as yesterday. It was just something else to it. Naturally, New York City, you're loud noises, people everywhere, and honking and all that stuff, and traffic. And this was definitely a switch in the vibe, but it was just serenity. That's how I can pronounce it. It was just beautiful. And then from there was kind of a shock statement. It was like just stepping inside of this house that we were able to go into, and it had a crackling fireplace. And it had this comfort of what everyone would envision a home to look and feel like. And it was kind of right then and there, it was like I was able to say, I'm home, or I have a home. And not like living in an apartment was any different from before, living in the projects, but just that certain feel of what you always see on TV, of the white picket fence and the dog running around and stuff like that. It gave me that vibe from watching shows, and honestly, it felt nice. It felt great. And so we had got adopted by our godparents, who ended up being our next door neighbors in New York City. Shout out Andy and Margot. What's up? And so my godmother works in the healthcare profession field, and my godfather works as a college professor in the political science field. And when I was about to start high school, we ended up moving to Indiana, Croftsville, Indiana, where my godfather started a teaching job at Wabash College, which turns out to be an all-males college. And I was like, oh yeah, college town, let's go. Wrong. But anyways, starting high school out there in Indiana, in the flattest state ever, along with a lot of farm and open land everywhere, which I was not quite used to, and it was definitely a culture shock. And it was kind of where you saw like just cows sitting on the side of the road, and it's like, what the fuck is this? And so it was definitely different, to say the least. But one of the good takeaways I got from that place, which actually didn't have much to offer for teenagers, was with everyone being bored in their own way, and kind of like a flat town where all you can find is like parties and just to get in trouble. And I'm sure you've either lived there or heard of towns like that. So that was kind of like one of those. But one of the things that made it easier was the friends that I made. And to this day, the friends that I made in Indiana, I still call family. We just developed a bond that was so strong. And those primitive years, for myself at least, was very impactful in my thinking and my mind, and just kind of just getting shit out of the way like you're supposed to as a teenager. And we definitely did a lot of that. And I did a year at Indiana State University, but bombed hard as shit. I mean, naturally, so and there was a few reasons, honestly, and I'm definitely my own fault for that. I didn't take school that much seriously. It was kind of one of those, okay, this is what everyone does after high school. You go to college, and wasn't quite ready for all that because naturally, going to high school, was like, didn't want to wake up at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock and go to this school and learn something that was just mundane and boring to me. But in Indiana State, I stayed in the dorms, and they had girls on every other floor. And talk about interesting times in the curveball to focus. Now, I'm not quite advocating for the all male college where they definitely don't have girls, but definitely do have parties where they invite girls everywhere. It was beautiful, but you know, my focus was not quite the college candidate, let's just say. And it was also where uh, pretty much drinking could have been like its own major, pretty much. It was, definitely a party school, and it was just all around. And but that was also my first year during my spring break. It was also the year my biological mother passed away. Rest in peace, Eva Macaro. But which was also hard for me to take in, especially just being a freshman and trying to just juggle life and figure what this all means, type things. And so the next few years of my life after that, I was just trying to figure out who I was and what I was to do. And so, like every other kid in my situation at that point, I turned to spending more times with my friends and partying than I did taking life seriously. Because it was like, c'est la vie pretty much at that point. It's like, might as well just have some fun and get your laughs in. But evidently all that turned into getting in and out of trouble a few times, and with even some of those times being incarcerated for. And so it definitely hit rock bottom, and did not learn after my first few times. I definitely had to hit my head on the pavement and pick myself back up. But the last time was enough, and after that I was like, yo, I need to turn over a new leaf. And I was actually given the opportunity to move out to Eugene, Oregon, to stay with some family out there. And if you've never been to Eugene, it is what they say it is. It's hippie city in Tracktown, USA. And I lived there for 8 years, but after a while, I just felt like I was getting too comfortable. And it was probably all the weed smoking taking place, which kind of turns into the norm in a city like that. And I've just never been a weed smoker that could also be productive with it. It was like people were just smoking and going to work and taking care of what they need to. I was never like that. I was just like, woof, it's out. I don't know what kind of weed they got in Eugene, but hey, it's a place if you want to just go chillax, that is a spot to be at. And so after a while, along with a roommate, we decided to move out to Southern Oregon, where I currently reside at now, just to try something new. It was kind of one of those things, she didn't have a boyfriend, I didn't have a girlfriend, casual friends, and it was like, let's just go for it. We don't have kids, we don't have this, no responsibilities, this extraness there. Let's just try something new. And so we did that, and it's from there I've kind of had quite a few jobs over the years, where mostly ranged in the hospitality industry. I've always liked being around people, and when you can work yourself up from starting as a host to a busser, dishwasher, whatever it is, and then becoming a server, just that progressive state. And then honestly, it was also about the tips. Find a job where you can make minimum wage but also get tips on top of that. You can't beat it. And I know currently, which I don't live in Seattle or something like that, but their minimum wage is like $15 an hour. And plus, just think about being a restaurant server in an upscale restaurant, making on top of that. And I'm sure the cost of living is more expensive, but yada yada, you figure it out, fucking get some bunk beds or some shit. But if there's a will, there's a way. But I know the Indiana minimum wage, I believe as a server, I think it's around the $2.50 to $3 mark if you work in a restaurant as a server. And after a while, you just have to do the math. So, this was definitely the beneficial move for me coming out west. Besides, the restaurant industry, I've worked for like FedEx office, making flyers, banners, and business cards for people. And one of the cool things about that was kind of creating something out of nothing. I really enjoyed that, where somebody would just come in with the idea and be like, hey, can you help me out with this? I was like, yeah, you fucking just create something and from their vision and be like, here's the finished product. And it was kind of cool. But, after a while, you're still kind of working for essentially this like corporate America. You had to work the whole 9 to 5 gig and you to make tips on top of that. You can make promotions, but man, if you're in a position that's quite not a career, I would definitely say go towards the restaurant industry and try your luck as being a server, because if you can make tips on minimum wage, you just can't beat it. And then hopefully save that money too, because I've had my instances where I could not save, but it always worked out in the end. And I've also been an owner of a painting company, which has its own little backstory, but kind of done a little bit of everything to give it a try. And now I make unique mirror image apparel at iselfreflect.com, where it's positive affirmations only you can see in a mirror or your reflection. Because I really want to bring positivity into the world, and I think that starts with the self. And I figure if I can help people empower themselves, then we're kind of onto something, and hopefully that snowballs into like this greater effect of helping everybody else as well. And besides that, I also flip books on the sides. I go to these thrift shops and Goodwills and have people drop off free books to my house, and I flip them on Amazon. So it's kind of a unique side hustle, and I still have a restaurant job I work on the weekends because honestly, you still can't beat it, So quick facts about me. So I did get I asked some questions on social media. It's like, hey, what would you like to know about me during this podcast? And I did get a couple of replies back, what people would like to know. So I'll just list some quick facts that includes some responses there. And so my birthday is September 4th. I'm a Virgo. Let's go, Virgos. Boom, boom. I am single. That was one of the questions. Hey, ladies, what's good? Pop in. And I'm also full Puerto Rican, which is very unique because both my parents are Puerto Rican, but I never grew up learning Spanish. And I remember asking my mom one day, and I was like, why don't I know Spanish? And she said that she wanted life to be easier for me and my sister if we only knew English. And, her being born, in the early 50s or 60s, it was kind of the norm for her as a Spanish-speaking woman from Puerto Rico. You'd have to know English to kind of fit in and get along with the world and work your way throughout here. And so I totally get it, but man, if I could be bilingual, that would just be amazing. So if there's any Spanish teachers out there that want to hook up some lessons, let me know. I'm all game for it. Definitely was not for it in high school, where I actually got C's, especially with a Spanish name like Lariano. So it's definitely interesting. I like short walks on the beach, not long ones. And this is no joke. Because if you walk a mile and then have to walk a mile back, I'm just, I get it. The beach is beautiful. I love basking in it. I love the awe experience. But I'm just saying, hey, let's walk a half a mile there, half a mile back. We get the mile in, and it's still beautiful. But I do love like just going on adventures and hunting, because one of my favorite hobbies is geocaching. If you've never heard of it, check it out. It's at GeoCaching, geocaching.com. Think of yourself, it makes you feel like Indiana Jones worldwide. So there's like hidden treasures throughout the world. And by treasures, I mean, sometimes it's just like a little log note, just saying that you found this piece of paper that was hidden in plain sight. And that's usually what it is, but you'll find some other trinkets and stuff like that. But look into it and let me know what you think, because if anybody wants to go geocaching, I am game. Let's go. And the beautiful part of it, it does take you on some unique places, and it's just a win-win all around. I'm big into philosophy. I love psychology and sociology. I've always been an advocate thinker and just a creative and imaginative. And so I'm always just looking myself in the mirror, my hands. At an early age, I'm like, what is all this about? Who are we? What is consciousness? Why do we think and do what we do? We've always been like that why character, but I've just wanted to figure it out. And I believe we can get there through talks and learning and seeing examples and also meditating. And I only read nonfiction books. I've tried reading fantasy and fiction books, and for me it's great. Like towards if you're about to read something right before bed, that way you can kind of put your head in this comfort space of an imaginative world to sleep off. But for me, before bed, I love reading biographies. I love learning about people's lives, but kind of goes back into the just being fascinated by philosophy and psychology and sociology. But with movies, I love every kind of genre, but I haven't found a scary one yet ever since the Blair Witch Project. I think that was the last one that was just like, oh shit, why did the camera fall like that? Wait a minute. Why is she staring in the corner like that? Oh shit. Definitely one of those moments still to this day. And I actually don't drink coffee. I'm sure you meet a lot of coffee drinkers, but I only drink tea. And it's because it felt like coffee was something I could not take control of. It was the caffeine every morning turned into a habit. And then after a while, I just said, why? I was like, and then when I tried to stop, it was just like, no, I'm craving a fucking caramel macchiato right now. Like all that sugar and that caffeine. And you ever try to quit coffee? You'll get like some withdrawal symptoms and you'll just get cranky for some reason. People are like, I haven't had my coffee this morning. Don't talk to me. Well, to me, that's like something else that has control of you. It's kind of like, smoking cigarettes or alcohol. And I was just like, no, I want to be in control. And tea is definitely for me more lighthearted. I love the taste of tea, black tea or green tea, but it's not like I crave it. And especially if I don't have it, I'm not gonna be like, man, just don't worry about it. It's just because I didn't have my tea this morning. I've never said that once. And somebody did ask me about my self-care routine, and that kind of involves kind of what I planned out for myself, my daily routine. And this is probably a lot easier for me than most because I'm single, I have no kids, and so I can create my timeline the way I see fit with only expectations from myself with my own responsibility. So my daily routine, I wake up every morning, and as soon as I wake up, I immediately put on my gym clothes and tie my shoes, because my philosophy is if you do the hardest thing first, no matter what it is, do the hardest thing first. That way it's already taken care of throughout the day. And I know once I put on my shoes, it's game time. Like I'm about to put in some work and it's go. Like it's no time to get comfortable or fall back into bed or anything like that. So right off the bat, put on my shoes and get ready. And I get ready and I go to the gym. And when I get back to the gym, I'll rinse off and then I'll meditate. And I'll meditate between anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. And that's just calming my mind after the gym where my muscles are relaxed, or trying to get relaxed now after I stretched them out. And it's just to gather my thoughts and my feelings to make sure I conquer the rest of the day. Even if I have a whole list of things to do, it says that at this very moment, you're just here, still, present. And then I'll just focus on my breathing and I just relax and just let it go, let everything go. And that just kind of feels like you just blend in with everything. And everything's kind of this one realm type thing. But I'll deep dive into that some other time. But let me know if you give that a try or not, and leave a comment below if you do or not. And then after that, I'll get my lunch in, and then it's kind of game time. It's like that's when I'll start work, either where I go to the restaurant job on the weekends, or that's when I have like a ton of books in my house right now where I sort through. So I have designated days and times where I'll sort through my books and put them left and right type thing. Or I'll work on my I Self-Reflect brand, which is on the laptop, or advertising, or reaching out to influencers. So if you're an influencer, listen to this, hit me up, let's go. And then after that whole work period, I'll definitely have some downtime where, I'll have dinner, and I love stimulating my mind during dinner, and especially during the gym too. I don't listen to music anymore actually when I work out. I listen to all podcasts. I have like my top 3 to 4 podcasts that I listen to daily. And it's just that certain growth mindset that I get that I just love. The ones I listen to will be about, uh, pop culture, what's happening in this world today, or mostly it's on the business aspect. And some are just for a good laugh, good old fun laughs that just get it out there. And that just feels good for me to start my day. And sometimes I'll switch back to audiobooks as well. Man, you ever listen to an audiobook when you work out? You get 2 in 1 done. And so during dinner, I usually that's when I'll like my downtime is what I considered it, where I'll end up watching a movie and then I'll relax. And then from there, I'll cut the night short, probably around like 10 o'clock. And that's when I'll end up reading a book. I'm like, okay, the night's over. Let's stimulate the mind, get some education in, and see what I can learn right before I go to bed. Because, man, sometimes that makes dreams even more interesting as well. But dreams are something else I'll probably talk about later on as well, because that's another one of my interests. And then that's about it. And so my self-care regime is compromised of the daily routine. So I sum up as me as a human being, self-care into 3 different segments of kind of who I am, that self-reflecting period of the mind, the body, and the soul. So if we break those down, I make sure I, not attack, but make sure that it's well tied to something that I'm actually doing in my daily life to amplify those things. So with the body, I go to the gym daily. And I actually still smoke cigarettes for now. And I'm probably going to have to do 2 days at the gym. So at nighttime, I'll probably also make a period of time to go to the gym. So that way, when I take my, smoke breaks or take a pause from something, I want to go have a cigarette, I'm just going to go straight to the gym. And I've quit smoking on and off frequently. And for me, it's fairly easy because I quit things just cold turkey, because I believe myself, everything's a state of mind. And if I can create a little switch in my brain and flip it, I believe I should be able to just go ahead and do that without, you'll have some hiccups to where it's like, your brain goes through this transformation of like withdrawals or feeling type of way and this and that, but just fight through that. And to me, I tell myself, this is not for me. It could be for everybody else, but for me, it's not for me. So I fill myself with a lot of positive talk and affirmations, and I convince my brain, this is the route we're taking it in, and you better like it, because this is what we're doing, period. And so back to the self-routine, the self-care. So the body is the gym, and my soul is the meditation I do. So I try to take care of my soul and cleanse it and detox it with meditation, where I sit there and I, self-reflect. And that's a great time to either self-reflect on yourself, on the world, your life. If you want to wish well to others, for me, it's kind of being a beacon of yourself, but you can also amplify that beacon towards whatever you want it to be. And this is why I'm a firm believer in manifestation, and this would be a good time for that as well. And for the mind is my reading. I believe knowledge is power. Without it, I believe we get comfortable in this certain circle, in this certain space, to where it just becomes a cycle of one day you just finally wake up and you're just like, why am I doing here? So I just like stimulating my mind, and it helps me think, what tools do I want to encompass in my life and use to amplify outwards? I feel like life is about you. You have to figure out what you want to do and what person you want to be like, and all those things. And so with that, it's like my biggest thing for myself, what I do, the things I do for, what I love, my passion, I just want to make sure that I'm always in control of my life. I want to do the things I want to do when I want to do them. To me, that is the ultimate freedom. And it feels fucking great. I'll tell you the truth right now. It feels great. And so after all that self-care, that's my daily routine. Uh, I just kind of think about that. Everything's a blessing to me. I've hit rock bottom a lot of times in my life. And I remember I have two older brothers. One lives in Virginia, one lives in the Bronx. And I talked to one brother when I was just going through some hard period. And he's just like, yo, you're already at rock bottom. You can't go down any further. But it was just like one of those little simple things that I needed to hear at the time, where it just a light bulb went off, and I was like, you're right. And I was like, okay. And it's like anything I did thus forward was going to be better than the step before it, because trust me, I was really down in the rock bottom. And that was definitely during my Indiana times, to tell you the truth. But life is beautiful. I believe we have the power to create whatever life we have with some hard work and backbone. But to trust in ourselves and our instincts and our guts, I believe we are really that powerful to manifest our reality with what we want. And I believe sometimes people just get confused because they just haven't decided what they really want in life yet. But throughout this whole podcast and these future episodes, I hope we can both get some clarity by me speaking stuff out loud, listen to it for myself, and then also to the listeners as well. But you also get to know me very well, honestly, through these future episodes. The way I think and why I think these ways. I am definitely an open book. So if you have any questions or comments, please subscribe and comment below and let me know what's up. It's going to be fun. So if you wish to join me on this beautiful journey called life, tune into the future episodes. I love doing this. It's kind of one of those things in my life that I've decided that I never want to say what if ever again. I know my boundaries as a person, but it's just life is what you make it. And it's my younger self would have been so maddening that it was that simple, because I would have had so many excuses about why it wasn't so simple. But I've taken accountability for my own responsibilities. And in a podcast I recorded with one of my best friends, Harvey Banks, on Cloud Conversations, we talked about the role of leaderships. And, the biggest takeaway when you do listen to that, and also to listen to this, I hope you can realize, to be your own hero, to be your own leader in your own story, because this is your life. And so with this, my own life experiments, and I Self-Reflect podcast, I wish to share that with you and hopefully bring some positivity and some insightful perceptions that you can take back with you in your own daily life. So, and I plan on ending every show with I love you, because honestly, it feels great to say and just to hear, So if you have the quick time right now, please comment. Let me know what you think about this, about me. If you have any questions, or if you like for me to bring up any topics on any future podcasts, and subscribe to stay updated. So with all that said, peace out, everyone. And until next time, I'm Loriano Mercado of I Suffer Podcast. I love you. Peace.